And today with Dr. Jackie, we're going to be talking about keep showing up. Oh my God. So the first week we got started, we had a conversation about what's waiting for you on the other side of fear. And I had an opportunity to hear from so many of you who really saw the importance and the value of just jumping out of that comfort zone and calling fear for what it is. And so that first week was absolutely amazing. And then on last week, we didn't do an actual live show. We just did a rebroadcast of one of our most requested shows on managing the business of your business. But today, I realize that as we are moving forward and are growing and are discovering who we want to be in our personal space, in our professional space, in our business space, there is something that continuously, is gnawing at the back of us saying, just give up, just give in, go ahead and quit. You've invested too much. Look how much time and money and resources it's taking. But today I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you that if you just keep showing up, oh my gosh, when you just keep showing up, something amazing happens in your life and in the life of other people. So for the next hour, the time that we have together today, that's what I want to talk about. Keep showing up. You can type in for me if you want to. What is keeping you from showing up? And there may be a laundry list of things that come to mind that are keeping us from showing up. But as we begin to talk about keeping and being able to show up, let me just give a short list, a little bit of a rundown of why it's important to keep showing up. When we are able to discover our purpose and our passion, and we clear some of the clutter out of the way of our lives, we see the value in showing up as being able to not only propel ourselves forward, but others who are watching, and you know that we're role models whether we want to be or not, then we are able to show others how to keep going. It's similar to church when you stand up and you give that testimony and you can constantly say, I don't look like what I've been through. That same testimony works in business. It works in your personal life. It works in your professional life. None of us look like what we've been through. And that goes from any number of things to not having enough money in the bank to make our dreams a reality, from dealing with our children who have issues of their own or who may be sickly, dealing with taking care of our elder parents if I've had to do, on occasion in my life. Let me tell you, there are so many things that can keep us from showing up. But if you'll just stick with me today, and if you stay on this constant track of knowing that where you're headed is where you're supposed to be going, I know that together we can get there. So what does it look like to keep showing up? Well, the first thing it is to identify what's standing in your way from showing up. As I said, you might have a laundry list of things that are keeping you from showing up, but it's important that we acknowledge what those things are. We have to have an awareness of what they are. And when we don't acknowledge them, when we are not aware of them, it is one of the most critical components to allowing haters and naysayers and the enemy to trip us up from our A game. I know it's not easy because we've got a lot of everything, if you will. If we went down the list of everything that's standing in our way, we'd be here till tomorrow. But simply, there are a few things that could be in our way. One is not acknowledging those things. And when you acknowledge it, when you put a name on it, when you can call what's tripping you up as it is, it allows you to have power over it. That's really important. When you acknowledge what's standing in your way, when you acknowledge what is tripping you up, when you make yourself aware that there is a tendency or a possibility of something not going right, then it allows you to look at that situation a little bit differently and to tap into how to turn that situation around, how to make that circumstance work in your favor. I have something that I say to myself when I feel like I want to just throw in the towel, when I have bitten off, yes, even me, bite off a little bit more than I can chew. I say to myself, things work out best when I make the best of how things work out. I want you to remember that. Things work out best when you make the best of how things work out. And let me tell you why that's important. It's important because oftentimes our opportunities can be wrapped up in chaos. And when we take the time to peel back the layers of our chaos, we're able to see entryways and access points to be able to deal with something in a way we've never dealt with it before. It allows us to rise to the occasion of whatever it is we're facing and say, you know what? I have the skill set to make this different. I know exactly what to do because of something I read, I saw on YouTube, I listened to someone else's message, and it just gave me a sense of ability that I could move forward in what I was facing. So if you're wondering today about how to first deal with keep showing up, the first thing is to have an acknowledgement and an awareness of what is standing in your way. You know, I always tell you, have your pen, your pad, your digital device with you, so that way you can have a column for the good, a column for the bad, and a column for where you're going to go next. And today I'm going to challenge you to write down something that you can do right now. I've not ever asked you that before, because I feel like we're in this season of our lives where if we acknowledge it, we address it, then we can go on and be about it. And I need us to take the procrastination out of our equation, because when we procrastinate, oh yes, I identified it. That was 2 weeks ago. What did you do about it? Well, I put it down on paper, but what did you do about it? Well, I said I was going to do these next few steps. Yes, but what did you do about it? You see, it's not enough just to write it down. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to put in the time. And this is why sometimes we don't show up to the things that are important for us in our lives, is because there are too many steps. So remember today, the first thing, and to keep showing up, and the ability to do that, is to have an awareness and an acknowledgement of what is tripping you up. And after you write down those things that trip you up, I want you to do something unique today. I want you to write down a time frame. How long has this thing been tripping you up? Yes. How long has the things that you wrote down been tripping you up? And the reason why that's important is because, again, like writing it down, when you write it down, you acknowledge what it is, you take away its power. The other thing is when you put a time on it and you see how long it's been tripping you up, then you're also able to say, it didn't have to take this long. It didn't have to be this way. I'm in a position right now today to do something about what's tripping me up, because not only do I acknowledge what it is that's tripping me up, I also have the wherewithal to deal with it. These are the things today that we're talking about that keep you from showing up, and it is so important that you do that. And as when I get ready to close this segment today, I'm going to talk about the power of presence. But for now, we're focusing in on you've got to keep showing up. So first of all, you're making yourself aware and having an acknowledgement of those things that are tripping you up. And in dealing with those things that are tripping you up, you're going to write down how long it's been tripping you up in one column. And then in the next column, I want you to write down one thing that you can do today to keep those things from tripping you up. Now, if it's other people, I say this every week, and I've probably been saying this to you guys for an entire year, that you have to release yourself from people who are constantly tripping you up. It's so important that we identify the company that we keep as a part of our issues and our problem. And so when you're releasing yourself, if you've got people in your life and in your space that are constantly telling you what you can and cannot do, what you're not ready for, then maybe you don't need them in your corner anymore. It is so important that we let people run their course in our lives. And when their season and their time is over, you have to say bye-bye. And say it in a very nice and kind way, but know that you still love them. They're just not ready to go with you into your next season. So that's the first thing in keeping showing up. Have an acknowledgement and an awareness of what's keeping you behind, what's tripping you up. And then write down how long has those things been tripping you up. And then the third thing with this one point is, what is the one thing that you can do today to make those things not trip you up anymore? And this is where we put on our big girl shoes, we put on our big boy pants, and we address things head on in this season of our lives. This is February. This is first quarter knowledge I'm giving you, because where I'm taking you in April, May, and June requires you to get these steps down so that way we are ready to soar, ready to move, ready to go where we're intended to be. So the second thing, in order for us to keep showing up after we acknowledge what's, and have an awareness of what's been holding us back, we also have to begin to look at the why. Why do you constantly allow yourself to be put in a position to compromise? These are some of the things that can keep us from showing up. And I'm addressing them on the front end so that way on the back end, when we're ready to really do the work is a lot simpler. It's a lot easier. It allows us to do the things that we are needing to do. I want to thank everybody for joining in right now, because this word that I have today is something that I have struggled with being able to walk through. I'm not necessarily a perfectionist. That's not who I am, but I'm also not totally procrastinator, even though I am that too. So not a perfectionist and somewhat of a procrastinator. And I have discovered and learned that I trip me up. And so when I think about what's keeping me from moving forward, after I've acknowledged the things that are, in the way and that are on the list, I realized I had to put myself on the list. How many of you today can be honest with yourself and say that you need to put yourself on that list, that you are in your own way and you are tripping yourself up, whether it's procrastinating, whether it's not having enough time, not doing the things that are required in your task to be able to help you to move forward? The idea and the key is that you still keep showing up, because each day you can learn something new about yourself. Each day you learn a new skill set that gives you the capacity to grow yourself as an individual. Everything that happens in our life hinges on who we are as people, as individuals, what we say we want to do, but then the reality of what it is we're capable of doing. So that's the second thing. After you've had your acknowledgement and your awareness of what's holding you back, the second thing is be honest with yourself that you sometimes trip you up. You have to take a critical look at yourself and say, hey, you individual, me, the person who's talking to you right now, is also in a space where there are times where I take on too much. And even though I'm the queen of balanced living, and that's what I teach on, that's what I provide coaching certifications for other people to be able to learn and to do in addition to professional coaching, being balanced often becomes a struggle because there's so many things that are tossed at you that are beyond your control. But oh my goodness, when you have you together, when you know who you are and what's standing in your way, it allows you to be able to call out those things immediately that can trip you up and keep you off your A game. And let me tell you how important that is, because just being able to keep showing up requires you to settle in and hunker down into your personal zone. And if you have outside influences that are constantly in your ear, if you have thoughts of the past in your head from other people, then it can throw you off of being able to stay synchronized with who you are as a person, the goals and the plans that you have for yourself, the people that you need to talk to who can get you to where you're trying to go. Sitting down and writing proposals and papers and, handling your business as a professional the way that you know that you can. And so when I see that I'm in the way, I say to myself, self, how did you get here? How did you get caught up in a situation or a circumstance or somebody else's business that had nothing to do with your business? And then I began to realize when I go back and look at the list, I said, oh, I tripped myself up because my good spirit, my good nature wants to help other people. Who I am wants to be there for them. And there are times in your life where you have to be a little bit selfish. You cannot be everything to everybody in your space. And let me tell you why I say that. When you try to be everything to everyone in their space, and you are constantly helping the same people over and over and over again, what ends up happening is that you become a crutch for those people. And when you become a crutch for people who are continually asking you for guidance, direction, and information, then you have to say, how much of my time did I spend continuing to grow this person, while on the other side over here, I've not taken the right amount of time to keep growing myself? You have to keep growing you in order to be ready to grow other people when it's your season. Hear me well. When it's your season to step into their lives. Some of the things that keep us from just showing up and keep us from being present is that we keep going back to seasons that the door has closed. It's run its course. That avenue, that lane, that venture, all of that has come to an end. But because we're so loving and nurturing and caring and we want the best for everybody, we leave ourselves on the back burner and we don't take care of who we are. So today, if you're going to keep showing up, let me share with you for the next few minutes how to keep showing up. I know that you got your list, and as I'm sharing, I want you to look at your list, all the things that you wrote down that are tripping you up. We're acknowledging and we're having an awareness of the things that keep us from showing up first, because we've got to put those things where they are in their proper place and position so that we have power over those things. Write it down. Take away its power, because once you acknowledge a thing, then you're able to call a thing as it is, and it has to be removed from who you are because it recognizes there's no space for it anymore in your life. But you have to be willing to let that happen. And that's where we got to our second thing, that you as an individual, me as a person, have a tendency to trip our own selves up because we refuse to release people to their own divine good. We refuse to let go of situations and circumstances that either have resolved themselves or never will resolve themselves, because maybe it's not for us to resolve them. But the third thing related to things that are getting in our way, not only do we acknowledge them and have an awareness of them, not only do we put ourselves on that list that we are tripping ourselves up, but then also I want to talk to you about the power of presence. This is the thing that allows you to keep showing up. When you know who you are and what it is you want to accomplish, you cannot get so engaged or embedded or encroached in the big picture of things that you miss out on the importance of the minute details. When people say to you, the devil is in the details, it is absolutely true, and here's why. And these are some of the things that keep us from showing up, because we miss the little things. We're so excited about throwing an event. We're so excited about making something come to happen. We're so excited about, the possibility of getting a new job or a promotion or a new house and a new car or a new person in our lives, having kids, whatever the case may be. We get really excited about the thing happening that we forget the small details that it takes to make the thing happen. And the devil is in those details, because all it takes is one misstep. All it takes is one miscalculation in your finances. All it takes is one small thing to be out of sync with the grand scheme of everything that you're trying to do in your life. And then you're like, oh my God, how did I miss that? And whereas when you're talking to people, they will try to play down the importance of the little things. And I call that faulty thinking. Preconceived ideas and faulty thinking cause us to miss the tiniest details in our lives, that it oftentimes seems that it's going to be too much for us to take on. And I know I'm hitting home with you, and I know that it hurts, and I know I'm probably stepping on some toes because I'm over here stepping on my own toes, but it's the reality of who we are. If we're going to grow as people, we're going to grow as professionals, if we're going to grow in our purpose and our passion, is for us to say simply this: the small things matter. The small things matter. And the power of presence is saying that you have the presence of mind. The presence of mind to do some strategic planning, to map out every single detail. And I know some of y'all out there are anal. And I get it. You don't miss one single thing, and you checking everybody who misses a single little detail. And that is wonderful, because you identify that is what may seem to be a character flaw for people who are working with you, but you are so appreciated as the individual who is so conscientious that you can spot a misstep in an action plan before a misstep happens. And that's why it's important that you, the individual, are present in every single detail. I know you love to delegate and turn things over to some people, but there's some things that are a part of what you do as the visionary leader that you cannot turn over to other people. It's just not possible. It blows my mind sometimes to say, oh, we're working on this event and I called a project manager, and that project manager is going to handle all the details. But yet your project manager can't sign on your bank account. Your project manager cannot make the final decision. Your project manager can't do half the things that you, as the visionary leader who's orchestrating your life and your plan, can do. Those things are so critical and important that you can't just hand over everything because you don't want to deal with it. And I'm going to say this because I can say things that some people won't say. And so here it is. It's real simple. Oh, I'm the CEO and founder of my company. I don't have to deal with those details. Oh, don't you see my name on the door? Oh, I don't have to deal with that anymore. No, I'm way past that. I'm 10, 15, 20, 30 years in business. There's some things I don't even look at anymore. Are you kidding me? Are you serious right now? There is no place, no point in time where you, as the founder, the CEO, the leader, the project manager on your job, the supervisor, the manager, whatever it is your title and role is, there is no way that you ever release yourself fully from the responsibility of accountability. Let me tell you, if you're going to keep showing up, you have to be willing to make yourself vulnerable, transparent, and available to other people. Vulnerable, transparent, and available to other people. Half of our businesses in communities around the world fail because the people who need to be in the room at the time certain conversations are had are off somewhere doing something else. And where it is great to be able to do that, it is vitally important for you to do what is necessary to see your business and yourself succeed as an individual. Now, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you're a boss, a manager, a corporate leader, if you're just a secretary, an administrator, a person in a cubicle, it doesn't matter who you are. The point is you still have responsibility and accountability to other people. And if you are choosing to advance yourself and your life as an individual and professionally, you have to keep showing up. I know it's hard. I know that it's difficult. I know it weighs on your nerves. Some of you walked in your job this morning and got sick to your stomach and had a headache because you hate being there. I know it's the elephant in the room, and sometimes we don't like to discuss it. We wake up with this pit in our stomach saying, oh my God, I gotta go to this job today. I don't want to be there. But when you see yourself as an individual who's there to learn a skill set that could propel you to entrepreneurship, then you come to it with a different focus. Some of you have stayed on your jobs too long, but you keep showing up, and I applaud you for that. You keep showing up because you realize that there's something more there that you need to know, something more there than you need to do. There is a reason why you are still there, and you owe it to yourself to keep showing up so one day and one day soon, your goals, your dreams, your passion, your vision is going to come to fruition. Because I know we walk into jobs, I've been there, I'm like, oh my God, I could do this so much better. I could do this so much greater if I was in charge. Where you're there to learn so that when you are in charge, you're able to do the best job possible. But the reason you're going to be able to do it is because you understand the devil is in the details. We work jobs because we not only need the income, but some of you are out there so gifted, so talented, so passionate, so ready to go right now that I need you to get out of your own way so that you can see the learning that's taking place, the skill set that you're building, the arsenal that you're putting together, so that when you do step out on your own and your side hustle becomes your real business, because I know that's where some of you are headed, then you can say, I have all the tools that I need. I know how to deal with customer service. I have all the resources that I need. I know how to write grants, and I need to go out there and get money. I know how to talk to other people because I need to be able to pitch my business, and I need to be able to brand myself. I need to be able to learn how to do social media marketing. I need to know how to make my presence known. This is what it means to keep showing up. I am nearly 30 years in business, and I started very young when I didn't know a lot. But what I did know was that I didn't want to work for somebody else the rest of my life. And so over time and in between of running my own business, I've been an employee. I've been an employee for the purpose of what I just said. I needed to build my arsenal, my toolkit, my skill set, my professionalism. I needed to better me so I could be a better you for you. It's not possible for me to do what I do now if I didn't work for other people. Because working with other people tosses you and throws you sometimes into the pit of hell simply because there's something that you need from that place. But it is what it is. You have what it takes. You have the wherewithal and the be withal to do it. I was walking in the store the other day and I saw a sign, and I'm going to post it a little bit later. And it simply said, you didn't wake up today to be mediocre. You hear me? You did not wake up today to be mediocre. And that's where I'm at in my life. I don't wake up every day to do things halfway. I don't wake up every day to give it just a little bit. I want to get up and give it my all, whatever it is that I'm doing. But some of us are so worn down. We are so tired. We are so up to here with everything that's going on in our lives. That's why I wanted to encourage you today to keep showing up, because the keeping showing up matters. It means something, not only to you, but the other people around you, because there are people who are watching, who know that you are sick, who know that there have been days you've been on your deathbed. They know that you're taking care of your sick parents. They know that you have kids that are ill. They know that you got passed over for your job. They know that you're not going to get that promotion. They know that your car got repossessed. They know that your house is about to be foreclosed on. There are people who know everything that you are going through because we wear it on our faces. But you are an encouragement to them because you keep showing up. And that's the beauty of being there. The power of presence means so much, not only to other people, but in the grand scheme of things, when you sit back at the end of the day and you think about the fact that you got up and you went in, or you showed up on this broadcast today, whatever reason and whatever things are happening with you, give yourself a round of applause that you showed up, because you know there's something more beyond what it is you're facing today. You know that there's something greater beyond what there is that you are seeing right now. And we get up and keep pushing and keep moving every single day because we know that the next day, the next moment, the next instant is gonna be better. And I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I live. That's the only reason that I do this broadcast every week. I do this broadcast because the life experiences that I have been through have caused me to say, girl, keep showing up. Not only are you blessing yourself, you're blessing other people. Keep showing up. Not only does it matter to you and to the people who are watching, but it matters to generations who will become somebody because of the knowledge and the skill and the things that you are learning when we gather together on this basis. I keep showing up because I understand that there is a play at work that's bigger than me. So when you think that it's all about you, it's not. And I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that sometimes we have to move the layers back. We have to get out of our own way so we can see the grand scheme of things, the bigger picture of what's happening. It's like the photograph that's a hologram. Hologram is simply a picture that when you're standing up really close to it, you can't see all of what's in that picture. But every moment that you take a step back further and further and further and further, then something else begins to emerge from the page. And what I'm saying to you today is that when you keep showing up, it allows you to take that narrow focus that you have. And as you begin to open up your understanding and you open up your awareness, then you're able to see the bigger picture that is at play. The full thing emerges of the why. The why you go through what you go through, the why you've been through what you've been through, the why you feel the need to wake up every day, the why you feel to drive 2, 3, 5, 6 miles in both directions to a job that you don't even like, or do things for your kids that you wish you didn't have to do, but you know the value of giving them exposure. That's what's happening in your life. Each day that you show up, you are being exposed to something you would not have had you chosen to just throw the covers back over your head and stay in. This is the reality of our lives. The reality of our lives says to us that I have to keep showing up. I need to keep showing up, because honestly, even though today may not seem much better than your yesterday, the fact that you're able to be here still and show up is a wonder and a miracle in itself. These are the things that make us who we are. These are the things that keep us moving forward. And as we transition in our second half hour, our first half hour is what it looked like to keep showing up. And some of you are typing and sharing your words of inspiration and encouragement to people. And I appreciate that when we're doing this broadcast, because most of you know that once my mind is open and my mouth starts going, I am continually in that flow of how I speak. And I thank each of you who are encouraging others as you're typing in, as you're boosting each other up, and as you're writing out and sharing those things that are standing in your way. It's not easy getting over the hump. And when I say the hump, I don't mean like Wednesday, hump day, hey, we're almost close to the end of the week. I'm talking about getting over that hump in your life. And sometimes some of you are right there at the keep showing up door. Like, I want to keep showing up, but today was that day I decided I was going to throw in the towel. Today is the day I wrote out my letter of resignation and I was going to put it on my boss's desk. I was going to hit the send button. Today is the day I was going to pull my kids out of that school because I don't know what they're teaching them over there, but I can't take it anymore. Today is the day that I was going to give up on my husband or give up on my wife or my boyfriend or my girlfriend. Today was the day that I was just going to throw in the towel, because I'd had it up to here. And if that's you today, let me encourage you to keep showing up. Let me tell you what I'm not doing, though. I'm not telling you to keep showing up to toxic environments and toxic people who are constantly throwing you under the bus. I'm not telling you to keep sending your kids to a place where they're being bullied and something detrimental can happen to their lives. I'm not telling you to stay in a dead-end relationship that could get you killed. That's what I'm not doing. But what I am doing, I am telling you to keep showing up to those places where you can make a definitive and definite impact. And all of you on this broadcast today are wise enough to know the difference. You know where you are making a positive change in people's lives. You know where you are being able to see what needs to happen. But when you look at that list that I had you write down of things that are keeping you from moving yourself forward and showing up, when you get that stuff out of the way, then you can show up at that school and be in a PTA meeting and have conversations with those teachers about your child's grade. Not only could they be making a bad grade because they don't understand, but they could be making a bad grade because they are being bullied. They could be making a bad grade because their teacher may be prejudiced or racist. It could be any number of things. But if you don't bring your A game and get yourself out of the way, then how can you be the best you need to be for people who are depending on you? This is why we keep showing up. That's why I said the devil is in the details of your life if you have kids, the details of your life if you're taking care of sick parents, the details in your life if you're about to launch a new platform, a new business, a new whatever it is that you're engaging in this life. We keep showing up because it matters. Not one time have I said today that showing up was easy, because I know that would be a lie. It's not easy to keep showing up. And when I'm talking about keep showing up, I'm talking about keep showing up to the things that are difficult. The things that are difficult are what test you. They would press you. They would push you into greatness. It's similar to a lump of coal, and many of us are diamonds in the rough, and we're waiting to shine, but we keep refusing to show up to the hard stuff. We keep refusing to show up to the stuff that's going to keep knocking that coal off and knocking those edges off, so we don't shine bright like a diamond. And that becomes an issue. It becomes an issue that we don't want to go through the difficulty. But those of you who have shown up for the difficult times in your life, you can look back and say that you are better for it. Whether you like it, appreciate it, understand it or not, you are better for having gone through the difficult times in your life, because they showed you more of what you were made of. They reveal to you the character that has been deposited inside you. It calls you to release yourself from anger management issues. It calls you to release yourself from being temperamental and overly emotional. It is when we step into the fray that we are able to see how it is we are able to become better for ourselves, our families, and our communities. It's plain and simple, but it's not easy. It's literally step 1, step 2, step 3, 4, 5, 6, and on down the line. But for those of you who don't like dealing in minutia, for those of you who keep showing up but don't like dealing with the details, and you say, oh, I got 1, 2, and 3 down, I'm going to jump to 7, 8, 9, 10, hold up. Seriously, press pause, because you cannot go through 1, 2, 3, and 4 and then jump to 8, 9, and 10. What happened to 5, 6, 7, and 8? There's some critical learning that happens. Like, oh, I've been down this road before. I can see it. Oh, I know what to do. I had that happen to me before. All that is well and good. But I'm going to need you to slow down and take your time and do the necessary steps, because there's learning in the process. And a part of our issue when we do show up is that we don't want to go through the process. Oh, this looks familiar, so you're going to bypass a couple of steps and jump over a couple of people. Keep doing that if you want to. No, I'm very serious. Keep doing that. And you're going to end up right back at square one when you could have been off the squares and into the circles. So you got to figure out how it is you keep getting in your own way because you think you know everything. And when I say you, I mean me too, because I'm that girl. I've been that girl. I've been that woman. I've been that individual as a person and professionally where I'm like, oh, okay, I know how to do that. Yeah, back in 2010. Do you know how much has changed since 2010? And so it's important for us to recognize, identify, and understand the value of going through the process. Going through the process allows you to, 1, learn more about yourself. 2, learn more about the people around you. 3, self-identify when you need to remove yourself from certain situations. And 4, also when to eject other people out of your space. This is why we go through the difficult times, because it helps you identify and see who the real team players are. Can you honestly say today that the people who are in your crew, the people who say they're going to help you with your squad goals, the people who say they're your ride or die, have you really tested their ride or die ability? I mean, honestly, you have to do it. I mean, it is the most phenomenal and amazing thing to see. You have to see if your ride or die are really ride or die. And that I mean through the most difficult situations that you may face, and then even to the highest peak of success, because many of you know that your ride or die is there for you when you going through the down times and your boo broke up with you and all that other kind of stuff. They with you within. But oh, when your stars start to rise, when your bright light begins to shine and they feel like they're being left behind, is your ride or die really ride or die? Because the people who are able to be with you when you at your lowest point also need to be able to spur you on, encourage you, and support you when you're rising to the cream of the crop and to the occasion of your situation. When your business is getting off the ground, when you got that space that you wanted, you putting on your 1st or 5th conference, when you invited so-and-so to come and speak and they were happy for you that they were coming, when, all hell broke loose, but you still managed to see it through because you kept showing up. Are those people who saying they're with you on your squad goal team, are they really squad goal people in all the seasons of your life? My list is narrow. My list is real narrow. When y'all see me, that's why y'all only see me. Because I have people who are with me when they with me, when they want to be with me. And I got people who are with me no matter what I'm going through, no matter what I'm facing. And that list, yeah, they fit right here. In this one hand. And sometimes it's okay to streamline. I think that's the best way to put it. I'm going to use a business term. I think sometimes it's good to streamline the people who are on your squad, because you got your party squad. Hey, we're going to go out and kick it for my birthday, whatever. We're going to travel together, have a good time on vacation. Then you got your other squad. That's your business squad. Y'all going to sit down. Y'all going to talk about things. You're going to strategically plan. You're going to make it happen. And you got your other squad when things almost fail because somebody didn't do their part that they say they was going to do their part, but your girl or your dude was on point and they say, man, I see them slipping, so I'm going to kick in and step in and make it happen. That is the reality of what I mean when I say keep showing up. If you're going to be in business for yourself, if you're going to run a nonprofit, if you're going to have a cause that you support, if you're trying to get a promotion on your job, you cannot be afraid to speak your truth and have the people walking alongside you that you need walking alongside you in order to keep things moving at the rate and the pace that you know they're supposed to move. Which allows me now to throw up a caution flag, in which I have one of these most of the time. And the caution flag is, don't let people on your team, once you've learned not to run ahead of the plan, push you to run ahead of the plan. You've got to be so firm in what you know, so clear about what it is that you are to be doing, that you know the simplest misstep can make the entire thing come tumbling down. And that is the reality of our lives. It is where we find ourselves in business as individuals, in relationships with other people, and dealing with our children and their coaches and activities and, being overscheduled. Whatever it is, you still have to keep showing up no matter how tired and how difficult things may become. So as I transition and we have our last 15 minutes together, let me express the value and the beauty of being able to keep it real. And I say that not as a term like, hey, let's keep it real, air quotes. No, I'm saying you have to discover what it takes for you to keep your conversation, your business, your growth, your relationships, your professionalism. You have to discover how to keep everything at 100. Okay, I'll give you 95, because there's always that little margin of error that comes in of things you cannot control. But without adding pressure to the conversation and our dialogue today, without adding pressure and strain and stress to your already busy life, you owe it to yourself to discover the 3 to 4 things. Now, if you got 5 things on your plate, you're doing too much. You need to be able to section off your life into at least 4 key areas: personal, relational, financial, spiritual. That's it. Personal, relational, financial, spiritual. And let me tell you why I didn't put the 5th one in there as professional. Because your professional life is based on who you are personally and what's going on in your life financially. Those things actually marry. So professional is tied into all of them. And so the reason that I say that is, if you have your life in these 4 blocks, these 4 triangles, these 4 areas, it allows you then to say, okay, what do I put in each of these triangles? In each of these triangles, I'm able to say that I can, maximize and leverage my personal self. I can maximize and leverage my relationships. I can maximize and leverage my finances. I can maximize and leverage my, my business and the things that I'm doing with other people. These are so important because they allow you to have room to breathe. They allow you to have room to be the parent that you want to be, to see your kids play soccer, to go to these dance recitals and piano, recitals. It allows you to have some free time to figure out how to take a vacation. But it also means freeing yourself up from things that other people can be doing that are in your household. So if you're not single and living alone, this little segment may not necessarily apply to you. But let me just say, you have to help people discover how to do stuff for themselves, because some of you are still doing too much for too many people. And when you do too much for so many other people, again, you end up leaving yourself out of the equation. That's why the first triangle is you. Who are you? What are you doing for you? How are you keeping you intact? Because y'all know, like I know, when you fall apart, everything falls apart. Everybody falls apart. Nothing works because you out of sorts. So if you are the glue that makes it sticks, if you are the be all, the end all, if you are the everything to everybody, you have got to have you together, because everything hinges on you, the individual. So as we continue these conversations over these next several weeks, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to encourage you because I want you to be your best self. Not for me. I may not ever see any of you in public. I may only engage and interact with you here on social media, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm in your court and in your corner. That I know that you're out there. Everybody wants to accomplish something good and great and be amazing. And I want that for you. But one thing I've discovered as I, for myself, stand up every day and say I'm going to keep showing up, the thing that I have realized is that I cannot want more for anybody else than they want for themselves. And that's where that vulnerability and transparency and accountability comes in again. You have to want it for yourself. You can't let everybody keep doing it for you and showing up for you and being your mouthpiece. I know some of y'all are introverted and you're reclusive and you don't do people. I get it. You don't do people. I know some people who don't do people. There are days that I have that I don't do people, and it's okay because I'm taking care of me, but you can't always be in the background. Sometimes you got to be in the foreground because that is where you're going to really see yourself shine. I know you're good back there in the background. You're making things work and hum. And if you weren't back there, things would fall apart. But this is where I challenge you to step up and do more, to be better, to not only be in the front, but also be in the back. Because when you step to the front, you get a different perspective of how things are really going. And it helps you do a better job when you're in the background working. So it's important that we know how all phases of everything that's going on that has to do with us work. You just don't have the luxury of, letting things slide and letting things pass. And so that's why I say you have to be at least 95% on your game. 100% is what you aim for, but that 95% keeps you from being stressed. It keeps you from being out of balance. It keeps you from being burdened and overwhelmed by the possibility of getting to 100 and then trying to stay at 100. But if you're at 95% and that other 5% is dealing with putting out fires, you at 100%. Because you're spending 95% keeping everything else working the way it needs to be working, observing, seeing, being aware, engaged. But 5% of your time is saying, you know what, I got to really keep a watchful eye on this 5%. This 5% is make or break. This 5% is what's going to make everything come crumbling down. This 5%. You got to give yourself room for the unknown. You got to give yourself room for the uncertain. You got to give yourself room for the unexpected. We're going to have a talk about that real soon on expecting the unexpected and how to deal with it. I think that it's another one of those things that stands in the way of our greatness. But today is about keep showing up. I honestly hope and pray and wish for everyone who has seen today, who will continue to engage with me on Wednesdays, the value to keep showing up. I've already told you it's not easy. It's not always the best thing, but it's the right thing. I know that you have things going on. You're like, if they call me one more time and I have to go over there, it's going to be a different kind of conversation. I know some of you said that because I said it just recently. It's like, you know what, you got one more time to call me, for the same thing, and we're going to have an issue. But I realize that I can show up for the season that I'm supposed to show up. But I also have been giving an end date on that thing, and you got to let it go. You have to be willing to release yourself from those things that don't give you room to grow in other areas. And it's just the way of life. Some of us can't move forward because we're still worried and concerned about all the other things that we'd have to release ourselves from in order to get what's next. I am at the 10-minute mark, and there's something that I have in my calendar, and I write this down to myself every day, and it simply says, am I doing today what I need to do to set up my success tomorrow? Am I doing today what I need to do to set up my success for tomorrow? Am I doing today what I need to do to set up my success for tomorrow? It is very important that we begin to identify and understand that today is the day that we focus on today. My statement doesn't mean I'm looking at tomorrow, what I'm supposed to be planning, and what I'm supposed to be doing. It means that today I'm taking care of what I need to today so I can be a better me tomorrow to deal with whatever tomorrow brings. It means that I am taking care of what I need to do today so that I can learn, I can grow, I can be in position, I can deal with myself and the things that I have to deal with, so that when tomorrow comes, I am ready and prepared to be a better me when tomorrow comes. And that's simply what that means. Am I doing today what I need to have success tomorrow? And that's simply what I'm leaving you with today. What is it that you are doing today that you've got to handle, that you need to handle, that you've been putting off? You're not willing to go through the fire. You're not willing to be forged by situation and circumstance. And those are the things that may be keeping you from showing up. But today, you have to show up. You have to. I rarely say there's something you have to do, but I know what's on the other side of when you show up. I know what happens when you're walking through your show up. When you show up, you're able to see that, oh my goodness, what was I waiting on? Why did I take so long? And so today is your day. Just keep showing up. And I can commit to you that when you do, you will see yourself as a new and different person. You will be able to analyze the why you never did before and be able to see it wasn't as bad as you thought. Sometimes addressing difficult situations isn't easy, but sometimes we have to do it. And that's why we keep showing up. Sometimes being able to, hit the nail on the head, we may accidentally hit our thumb, but it doesn't stop us from trying again. And so that's where we are today. Today, I want you to keep showing up until we meet again. The next time that we have a conversation, if I'm not mistaken, our talk will be something really interesting and simple. The next time we talk, it's going to be about be better at the next opportunity. But you can't be better at the next opportunity if you don't keep showing up today. God bless you all. Thank you so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you in the next coming weeks. Have a great day, everybody. You can reach me anywhere on social media at jhoodmartin, and that's where I'll be on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or on LinkedIn at Jacquie Hood Martin. Have a great day, everybody. God bless you, and I love you. Have a great week.